What's up, everybody? We're back again. It's Warp Charge Gaming. I got Chris here in the studio with me. You got James from afar, as per usual. It's episode like 40-something. We're running behind today because we've just been doing so much shit here in the old Battlegrounds that I don't think I even have the thumbnail updated and shit, man. We're just rolling. We're just rocking and rolling. So people,
chat up?
No, don't have chat up either. Yeah, people might get a little confused by what's happening because I'm not as organized as per usual.
Good job, George.
Yeah, good job me. But we do this every week, rain or shine or unprepared or whatever, and I'm glad to be back again with you guys. Howdy world. I'm getting on to our old YouTube here to see if we can say hi to our friends. James, lead us off, man. What have you been up to? What's going on in your life?
Dude, I have been painting Zangors.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I've been doing.
Okay.
And then working on this Slanesh thing at the same time. That's what I've been up to. Got some tournaments to go to this weekend. Cataclysm Games on Saturday, Everything Games on Sunday.
Oh.
2 RPTs. One's ITC, other one's Adepticon Prep.
Nice. That's a good weekend.
Yep, bringing the same list to both events. So it'll be interesting with the different submissions, even though I built this list for Adepticon missions.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I just saw a new feature on our YouTube that allowed us to hold potentially, what did it say, like rude comments or unsavory comments until we reviewed them. I said, do not turn on. People can say whatever they want to us. They want to say some massively inappropriate stuff.
I think your audio is cutting out because, like, I hear you. You're like, fuck. But like without the like I don't understand what's going on. Is the audio working?
No, I did that on purpose. I did my own self censoring. Yeah. So that
you're
was
talking about uncensoring. You have to be uncensored.
That's fair.
You're fucking right.
Fuck it.
Yay!
Did that cut out, James?
No. Audio's loud and clear, bro.
All right. So you're going to 2 tournaments this weekend. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, one's already pre-registered, 30 maxed out on that Saturday. And I'm assuming majority of those people will be at Sunday's event, but probably not all of them. So,
you know what's interesting, James, and this kind of leads into some content too, is that I'm filming 2 tournaments this weekend that are not 40k.
What?
Yeah, I mean, we've actually got some pretty positive feedback from those that we just posted a War Machine tournament. I don't know if you noticed that, James, but this past weekend, we got some people hollering out. Want to say hi to Black Tower Terrain. Hadn't seen you before, Black Tower. Welcome to the channel and to the live show here. And Gordito Spree, one of our favorites out there. I'm watching but playing Anthem. I won't be chatting this podcast. Well, fine, Gordito. I'm glad
I don't even know what Anthem is.
I don't either, but it doesn't sound like you're taking. I guess it does sound like you're taking fun seriously. But you're not taking the warp. This is all that matters, Gordito.
Is Anthem fun?
Anthem might be cool.
I bet it's really cool if he's doing it at the same time as listening to us.
Yeah.
I just lost audio if James wants to throw me an invite.
If you can throw Chris an invite there, James.
Oh man, I didn't even know he dropped. That's awful.
We're gonna have this happening.
Oof.
Yeah. Oof, indeed.
It's fixed. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah. And he's still right there. Like, he doesn't really need to hear me.
You're not wrong. I still see your face moving.
I'll try to do more talking. But yeah, so yeah, we put up a War Machine and Hordes video. Being now that we are in Battlegrounds, the local gaming store here in Midlothian, Virginia, actually got to meet Gordito Spree here for the first time when he came and visited me from when he was over in DC, and that was really cool. We played some Blackstone Fortress and some Kill Team. But Battlegrounds is badass. We're here in the store officially since February 1st, birthday weekend. We had a big tournament on February 2nd, the largest Warp Charge Gaming event to date with 44 players. We have our next tournament coming up, which is the Battle in the Warp doubles. It's not just a Battle in the Warp for the event itself, but we're doing a tournament league, which this is a first for us as well, and we're extremely excited about it. You can see the dates below: February 2nd, March 2nd, April 6th. To make it easy, it's the first weekend of every month going through June, and that's going to be season 1 of our first tournament league. extremely excited. I actually got some news today from some very reputable commission painters that want to offer us some painted models to the winners of the tournament league. I'll tell you more about that after the show here, James, as we solidify the details, but that's pretty freaking sick. We're going to be able to give some commission painting to the winners of the leagues for both the Kill Team and 40K leagues. So we got a doubles tournament coming up, but here in the store, we're trying to add as much value as we can to our community and really make War Charge Gaming a household name. And so we're streaming any opportunity we can. We want as much content as possible. We want to be able to let everyone get an opportunity to see what it's like to go live online. And so we streamed some War Machine Hordes the other day. It was pretty funny to just mic some guys up and let them throw down on camera there and not really have much guidance or close-ups or anything like that. But we've been getting some good feedback. Some people are happy to see the content. The War Machine crowd doesn't typically get live streams or just a lot of focus besides inside their niche. So it was cool to get to put them up on a pedestal a little bit. And this upcoming weekend on Saturday, we're going to be filming an Infinity tournament, which is cool. A game that I've always wanted to dive into, but I've always been scared to because the rules are deep and it's I know that it'll swallow me up. As far as my, my thoughts and desires and focus, if you want to play Infinity, you really got to be dedicated to that game.
I did something related to War Machine yesterday.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I used some War Machine models as proxies for Barons.
Okay. Right on. Robles wants to know, James, can he tell me you got 6 plague drones I can borrow this weekend?
Oh,
playing my first.
Mark Robles.
Robles, he says no. Thanks for getting a jersey, bro, but no plague drones for you. Damn it, yeah.
I have 3 that came in the box, and I mutilated every single one for conversions. So I have bits of like 3 dead ones. But that's about it.
Black Tower says he's playing his first tournament this Saturday. That's really cool, Black Tower. He says he's playing 1,000-point Annihilation. You guys ever heard of that kind of format? Is that like a single elimination? What's Annihilation?
I'm not sure.
It sounds like single elimination. That'd be pretty interesting.
Like Mortal Kombat, Annihilation.
Yeah, finish him. But
kill points.
Not only Saturday are we filming Infinity, but on Sunday we're filming Age of Sigmar for the first time, an Age of Sigmar tournament. So I'm really excited to be showing this new content on the channel. So that's really exciting. Yeah, Black Tower says 1,000 suns for 1,000 points sounds right to me. No worries, bro. Ham. I am told points per model. Not sure what's being described there by Black Tower, but I'm curious. And I'm glad that you're going to a tournament, man. Everyone should participate, even if they're a new player. You learn so much and you meet people. And that really goes far into, enhancing your gaming experience.
It's a lot about exposure. Like, it's a social hobby. You know, like, just interacting with other army builds that you're not well versed with,
right,
will cause you to develop your own tactics.
Totally. Hey, I mean, for instance, we just, I was excited about this piece of footage, but we actually just had a Kill Team Commander tournament. And we filmed the whole thing and did a live stream of it. I was really stoked on the games that we had. This is news of the week here because it just happened this past Saturday. It was a sick tournament, man, because everybody played a different faction, which is always cool when you have that kind of diversity. And one of my buddies, Those Once Loyal, Ryan, who's on the chat all the time and does a bunch of bat reps with us, he has been at all 5 of our Kill Team tournaments and he had never taken one home yet. And sometimes he's had some bad beats and I've seen him get a little frustrated. But I was stoked to see him take home the win. Death Guard pulled home the victory, which to some out there, Death Guard winning Kill Team may not sound that surprising. But, I would argue that and we have more testament to that because LVO, for instance, Plasma Spam nor Death Guard won the LVO. In fact, Geller Pox Infected got top 4 at the LVO, which I was excited to see. Just to show, and I think it was actually Eldari that got first place. So totally a bit different than, say, Nova Open, which was Death Guard and Plasma Spam. And just shows that with objective focused in mind and good players leading their factions there, it's a good game that doesn't just play to the latest math or latest meta that is out there. You can just be a good player and play what faction you like, and you can succeed. So I'm excited to continue to prove that point at Adepticon, James. Uh-oh. We just got some madness. You're not muted. There we go. There we go. Madness. We're playing with some insanity with the old technology. But James, Adepticon.
Yeah, what about Adepticon?
It's fucking coming, that's what.
Dude, it's right around the corner, man. We're coming to the home stretch.
Yeah, it is. Each match is totaled by models killed. Okay. Okay, so he's saying that the Annihilation tournament is based on points per models killed.
Interesting. So it's kind of like kill teams, except that it further discourages hordes.
Yeah. On a per model basis, that would not be good for hordes, not at all. But hey, make sure that it gets done. You know what's funny? I saw a tournament.
Build to your format.
Right, totally. You know, so I saw a tournament posted recently that was 3-hour tournament matches. Echo? Is that you, James, or?
Yeah, it was on me.
Okay, word. Yeah, I saw a tournament format that was 1,800 points with 3-hour matches. I was like, dang, guys, you really struggling to get your shit done, man. It's like, just pull out a goddamn chess clock.
Yes, you know, I was listening to a lot of podcasts this week, just driving in the car and whatnot, and like, you still see, especially after Adepticon, where there's been a few teams that are sponsored by some of these chess clock manufacturers. It's a constant point of discussion, and people are still kind of on the fence about it, except for the tournament scene, which is very much for it. I mean, especially discussing Adepticon and how they gave yellow cards and the red cards they did over this past, or not Adepticon, LVO.
Yeah.
I mean, the chess clocks are still an extremely relevant point of competitive discussion, and they're still kind of hammering out the kinks. I know there was a lot of things centered around the 10-minute rule at LVO.
Oh, what? I haven't heard the 10-minute rule.
There was something about, and I could be botching the details, but essentially, if neither player had 10 minutes left, you couldn't start a new turn. And there were certain players that were abusing that, and they actually got carded for it because, you know, they had just a hair over 10 minutes, and they would bleed their clock to end the game to their advantage.
Oh, fancy.
So, I mean, you know, it's with any system they try to integrate, there's going to be means for abuse.
Right.
But another thing is that LVO this year stated they were going to be kind of lenient in terms of giving out penalties.
Right.
And they still gave it out of yellow cards.
Sure. As they should, I'd say.
Even in terms of like a lot of sportsmanship kind of stuff where people were trying to like kind of rule things to their favor, they weren't really super afraid to be like yellow card. And, you know, I think they only gave out 1 red card this year. I could be wrong. But they'd pretty much stated, like, this is the trial run of this system. Next year, we're getting serious, so, like, tighten your shit up.
You know, we'll just see if we get any comments from those who actually care. But, James, you might have seen this on the ITC organizers page. There was actually one of the head judges at LVO had sent out a new, like a draft form of a vetting system for bringing on judges. So they were talking about that, you know, just as much as we got to hold our players in a higher standard, we have to hold our judges in a higher standard. And there was already like hundreds of posts from ITC organizers all over the country, and I guess the world even, talking about their opinions of the draft. And it was pretty much just a ranking system of kind of, one, the more veteran a judge you are, you can kind of gain accolades for that for as you go along. Like they had ranks like chapter master and things like that. But people were discussing how like some players won't go back to an event because they don't like the judge. You know, I know that I definitely there's one judge I don't particularly like up in northern DC that I don't head back to any of the events that go down to that shop.
Shout out to, actually, we're not giving you a shout out. You're dead to us.
Wow.
I was pissed, man. I mean, honestly, that took me on a roller coaster down like fuck 40k for a hot second. You know, I know that's blasphemy, but I mean, like, I've came full circle since, and you know, I found my different loves. That was the day that I bought Shadespire.
I remember.
I had such a shitty time at this tournament, and because of the way that it was organized. And I'll tell you what the main factor was.
We lost me, James, by the way.
Already back
Is they fucking I had prepared my ass off, practiced multiple games, like redone my list a whole bunch of times, trying to work out the science of it, and expecting they had listed on their page about the event that it was a ITC event, and ITC, and like I can't. They basically said it was an ITC event. There was nothing else as far as what the missions were or whatever. It was to be expected that you're playing ITC championship missions. We get there, and it was like, all right, guys, here's your packet, and it was the Nova Open packet, which was a completely different set of rules that you had to highly tailor your list around to be effective. And I was just pissed, man, because my list was totally not what it would have been had I known that was the mission type. And I drove 2 hours to get there, spent hot money to make it happen, and worked my ass off to be successful, and just felt like I just wasted all my time and energy the moment I walked in the door.
Yeah.
I was fucking insulted, and I won't go back. It was a lesson, you know. We all have. How did I let this happen? I'm a very accountable person. Well, I could have asked some fucking questions beforehand.
It's true, but
you know.
I think, and this is something I feel like I've had happen, just kind of go down anecdote, memory lane of 40k kind of like thing. You know, our hobby is so contract centric. Like, we go to the table expecting a certain experience with our opponents. And dude, I've had the most memorable bad games I've had are the ones where me and an opponent or me and an event don't see eye to eye on the like terms of the engagement.
Sure.
Like, I've had opponents that, and this is, you know, is going to seem silly to some people on the internet, but I've had opponents that are like, oh, I don't own a rule book for this edition, but I kind of know the rules. So like, this is totally cool, right? And then we realize 2 turns into a game that I'm like, I really wish we'd just played like a 500 point, let me teach you the addition game, because I'm having a really bad time.
Well, it escalates very quickly whenever they then get angry and
combative and defensive.
Yeah, about the rules that they don't even fucking have the book for.
Exactly, and you know,
red card all day.
It's a game. We all want to have fun. If when I messaged you on the internet before I drove 30 minutes to a game store to meet you and then waste 2 hours,
yeah,
you would have just been courteous enough to be like, hey, I'm a noob.
Yeah.
Help me out.
Humility goes a long way. And
I would have been there and having fun with you in a hot second.
Right.
But
yeah, no doubt. And you know, and just because we're ranting, and we'll be off this subject in a moment, friends, but the idea is that's what pisses me off most. And this is humility is when a person, no matter what level of player they are, but if there is a rule debate and they don't phrase it in a way that both parties could have could be correct.
Yeah.
You know, because it's always I'm pretty sure it works this way. Let's double check it. I don't think so. Like that, you know, like
let's try to maintain our dignity.
Right. Like, let's say it in some sort of way that means you could be right, but I don't think you are. But when they say no, it totally is. No, you know, I don't want to waste my time looking this shit up or whatever. Like, if they act like that they are absolutely right and they just shake their head aggressively no and get the frowny eyes and the frown in their forehead and just stare at you like you're a fucking asshole for questioning the rules, and you feel in your heart of hearts that they're wrong, that can upset me for sure. I don't know if you've ever experienced something like that, James.
Never once.
What?
Never once.
James is blessed to play in a competitive area.
Well,
Maybe
not just that, but I don't go to game stores to play because I spend all my time painting. That when I go to play, it's either at my house where like it's my buddies coming over, and like we're either trying something out or we're trying to perfect our own list.
Yeah.
And then you go to a tournament, and like if they're like new, like they kind of tell me right away because they're like intimidated by the tournament, and I try to give them a good experience and help them along the way.
Of course.
And if they're not new, like it's just a game. So I don't know. I mean, I've had one time when I was newer, I did get in a pickup game at a store, but it was someone else that was newer. And it's not like they didn't have the rules. They had all the rules. They were just very, very slow. And my buddy I was there with got in 2 games, and at the time it took me to get to turn 4. So then I was like, I lose, you win. Like I lose.
wow.
Like I was trying to just be new myself, but like I was still further along in like my progression.
Yeah.
So
you've got to know.
That was one letdown, but I mean, otherwise, most of my games are pretty enjoyable. I mean, I have the dickheads that are super try hard. I mean, those kind of suck. But other than that, man, all's pretty well. I mean, it's the game.
Nice.
My what is it called?
I lost 2 again, James.
Oh damn. My fuck, I can't think of the word right now. My expectations, yes, they're not very high. I mean, I'm just there to play a game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just yes, get over yourself and pull out. Yeah, exactly, Tau Dark. Yeah, and Tau Dark, I'm glad to see you, man. I wanted to give a shout out, man. I appreciate. There was a comment the other day on our YouTube channel where this was another. The first sentence that the guy wrote. It's funny because on top of what we're talking about, there was a YouTube comment on one of our bat reps where the guy was like, "Doesn't this etc. make the FAQ totally useless?" Like he said it in a way that irked me off the bat because he was saying it in a kind of a defiant, definitive way.
Defeatist attitude.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, I got to go check the comments. But then, like, after he kind of writes a paragraph, his final sentence was, I'm a new player. I'm trying to figure this out. And so I was like, all right, cool. You're not telling me that I did something wrong and just telling me I'm dumb. You're saying you don't think it works that way, and you're trying to get to the bottom of it. I was like, all right, cool. I was still a little bit laborious at the time for me to answer the comment, and I scrolled, and I'm like, oh wait, there's 4 replies, and old Tau Dark here had gave him a very thorough breakdown of the question that he had and already answered everything he'd had questions for, and I was like, thank God. I was like, I don't have to even like bother with this right now, because people, like, what they do on our channel is they'll put minute marks, and they're like, at minute 11:20, like, you can't do that, you know. And every time there's that kind of comment, it's laborious because I'm gonna do the justice for that comment, and I'm gonna click on that timestamp, try to discern what they're talking about, and then try to tell them why they're right or why they're wrong. But it's a pain in the ass when it's a kind of a dumb question.
Dude, okay, so the first time they came up with chapter proof for 17?
Uh-huh.
I mean, that list of FAQ questions, I remember reading through it and being like 75% of the questions being asked are very blatantly stupid people. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick to the 40k community, but like, so many of the questions, like if you've passed 5th grade English,
or they're lazy questions. They're lazy questions where they don't read.
Okay, so I have a theory about this.
Yeah.
I try to look at the glass like half full.
Okay.
If there is a glass, that's the optimism I need.
Okay. All right. I try to go the super optimistic route and just think, you know what? They didn't get a whole lot of submissions, so act like they have a job. They just made up the dumbest, simplest questions, and they answered them. And they published it, because no one's fact-checking them.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Dude, if I had a job, and that was my job, was to answer dumbass questions, and I got like 3 people with legit questions, and the rest are just trolling, I would have to make my job look like it's worth it to keep making money. So I'm going to say, does within an inch mean like within 1 inch?
That depends on what the definition of is.
Well, no, that's one of those questions that people will get the frowny eyes on. I got really mad one day when someone swore. They were just like, nope, that you can't just be an inch away. You have to be within it. They kept saying it like this. You can't be an inch away. You got to be within an inch. I'm like, it's the same fucking thing. I can't.
My favorite one.
It doesn't say under an inch.
Like an
Yeah.
IQ question.
Yeah.
Is water wet? Like water makes things wet, but
Oh, right.
It's wet.
Right.
And dude, the dumbest people just lose their fucking mind.
Yeah, that's one of those. That's just like the one where they ask, like, what age, like if this person had you've seen that, like where they ask like the riddle, where like what age is this person at the end of it all. Reminds me of that. I'm ranting. Let's see what Taldark says. He says, I have to train military personnel on tech systems for a living. Always assume the lowest level experience when answering questions.
Did you unplug the computer yet?
Yes. Have you turned it on and off? No, fair. Could you turn James's volume up a bit? Yes, I can. Thank you, Ice Wolf. There we are.
Check.
I could probably even amplify a little bit more. But yeah, that's a lot of bitching to start the episode off. But I'm in a.
It's a rant show anyway.
It is a rant show. I have drank 2 full throttles. That is the beverage of choice around Battlegrounds. So I've been cranking energy drinks and multiple sodas today.
I stopped next door before I showed up here.
Oh yeah, nice. There's been a lot going on. The biggest thing that's been in my world today has been hooking up a sound system in the store, which I'm very excited about. Battlegrounds. I was bitching for months about how they need vibe and we need good.
I lost you again, James.
We need tunes in our life. You hear that, James? We need some.
I heard him.
All right.
So, man, I got to take care of this thing.
All right, beautiful. But yeah, we need music. We need vibes. I need to bob my head and zone out to the good tunes, and they got us a sound system. So pretty sick. And just today, we finally got the speaker mounts and everything in, and I was running cable through all the drop ceiling. So after close tonight, I will be cranking up this system and making sure it's optimized. I got it all zoned out on a mixer and everything. So looking forward to that. I know Ice Wolf would appreciate that.
It sounds to me like you're just a big dick bandit, just swinging your dick around, demanding things.
Dude, how do you think we took the walls down?
What'd you say, Chris?
How do you think we took the walls down?
Yeah.
That 9-pound hammer.
Oh my God. Icewa says, finally Chris has a good connection. Well, kinda.
Teehee.
Yeah.
You guys, but he can't hear me because the fact is they only have one set of headphones that goes in the jack. So he has to use his phone to listen to me.
Which is where I'm having a problem with.
Yeah. We're gonna work it out though. I didn't bring a headphone splitter. It was a last minute thing. We're constantly growing and evolving on the fly. Yes, everything electric, and I am in. Hell yeah. That's what I know. And hello, Shadizo. Good to see you. And Chicken Bone just said, "What's up? Good to see you, buddy."
Chicken Bone, aren't old people just the worst? Sorry.
I think last episode we were cursing at London. Now we're hating on old people. Sorry, everybody. We're actually a bunch of assholes. No, not really. Not really. We like games. That War Machine stream you caught, the Minnow player you had at the end, is one of the East Coast top. Yeah. I heard. Sorry, Tad Dark. No, totally. Yeah, I saw that. He was mentioning that he's a big traveler. Yep, exactly. Excellent, exactly. Man, I love you guys. You're all so cool.
You guys are great.
Yep. But yeah, we're gonna get a headphone splitter. You're right, 25 cents would be good. Tal Dark,
I have one at the house.
Put your cane down, Tal Dark. It's gonna be okay. Yeah, it's pretty cool that we're featuring other game systems. Age of Sigmar on Sunday. Saturday is going to be Infinity, which is cool. And there's another game that we have some really amazing artists in town that play called Exodus. And they have some, it's like a Wild West sci-fi game.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Their boards are insanity.
It reminds me a little bit of Malifaux, but not the same.
Right. You know, the thing that I don't like about War Machine is the lack of terrain.
You know what? Because I bought 2 halves of the Legion of Everblight boxes because they have the 2-player starter boxes, and I tried to get into it. I mean, the thing that got me addicted to 40k was the fluff and the story, and I know it's not the same for everybody, but I know a lot of people transitioning game systems find that the Warhammer Hordes, the fluff scene is kind of harder to grasp.
Yeah. I definitely feel like I know Malifaux has a good fluff system too, but the models have intrigued me several times. I mean, I've definitely been like, damn, that's some cool looking stuff, you know, with the War Machine Horde models, and the game mechanics sound really cool as well. But the fact that it's very 2D and like they just can't, they like literally they will not accept having 3-dimensional terrain on the table. Because of how important, like to the very millimeter your models are, they cannot have any sort of tainting be occurred by the table. And what you'll find, and just like you can see in that stream, is that their table becomes a mess, and they don't care about even painting their models. Like, I found from my experience anyways that the majority of players will not care about their models as far as how they're painted. It's all about the gameplay. They don't care if the table's immersive. They'll just have tools and hobby supplies all over it, and it takes me away from the appeal, you know?
I mean, dude, you've seen how good care I take care of my models, aka not good.
But they're painted.
But they're painted. Exactly. Like, you know, like I'll throw a bunch of gene stealers in a ball and like arms will break off and I'll fix them inevitably. But like they're painted.
Yeah, I was talking some shit about the one of my buddies here. They talk a lot of shit here. A lot of these Battlegrounds cats like to grind gears and have a good time with it. But they, especially mine. But they're like, you know, I was talking a little bit of shit about, man, like get some paint on your shit. They're like, man, George, you don't even paint none of your shit though. And I was like, yeah, but all my shit's painted in, bro. Got all like busting my chest out. It's like I put some respect. I have not painted any of my shit, but damn straight, 100% of my models got fucking paint on it.
I'm dead in the water again, James. I'm terrible.
I already sent the invite, man.
Dude, he's all over it.
I'm already way ahead of you.
All that you said, you're not wrong. Yeah, right on, Taldark. Yeah, it's strange. That's the part that pulls me away from that game, and I think if they could get that part, I don't know, put it at a higher standard, that it might suck more people in.
I love painted models. I mean, I'm always preaching at least 3-color minimum.
Come on.
There's 3-color minimum. Like when you're standing away from the table, it kind of disappears a little bit. So who cares about the details? Who cares about the teeth, the eyes, any of that stuff? I mean, you can spray some models real quick with rattle cans and then dip them in some wash.
Dude, use those paint markers.
PA glue. Yeah, paint markers, like when you're trying to touch some stuff up or add some unit marks or something.
Yep.
It's easy. It's better than gray plastic.
Yeah, I mean, like, especially what it can really get kind of crappy is that whenever it's like a competitive player that's like, they're like they literally are just pay to play and buy the latest meta, and they just don't give a fuck, and they just like throw their sprues together.
It definitely further removes all the players involved from the narrative experience when a player is very obviously just buying whatever is good.
And if you're cheesing out and building a pay-to-play army like that, and then you go crush a noob, it's like, it's one thing to get beat, but you definitely get the feel-badsies when you get beat by a fucking gray tide.
Or especially like,
you know, like at least it needs to look cool,
like,
you know?
No arms on the big models.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about, too. I might be subtly talking about someone particular right now. And,
wow. Shots fired again?
Shots fired. David never watches our show,
We're
you
on
son
that
of a bitch.
Actual name.
Well, you know,
I'm repping one of our jerseys.
I know, right? Well, you know, I had at our own tournament. You know,
I eat the week. That's just how it is in our tribe.
I drank a lot of full throttles, but no, I literally had one of our players that didn't do very well in our last tournament, but still had a beautifully painted army that he'd done himself. He lost to this gray tide pay-to-play army, and the fucker didn't even have heads on his guys. And he's like, you know, and he's like, at least it could have looked cool, man. That just felt shitty.
Well, so the first time I went to Nova, aka the Nova before last, that was one thing that I could tell even online. There was people bitter over a behavior, because it's an event where you expect WYSIWYG, you expect people to put a lot of work into the armies, and days of the event, they weren't really cracking down on people showing up with like gray tide or like unassembled stuff. Mm-hmm. And I know myself, for example, the night before, I was wasting my time gluing together models and touching stuff up instead of socializing with people.
Right.
And I would much rather have like been partying with the 40k people.
Right.
So it gives you a little bit of feel badsies, because like these people had time to do it.
Don't put your beliefs on the other people.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear Chris talk about how, oh, it should be that way, it should be this way. No. What it should be is them just forking up the money and a starving artist to be paid, and then they have this good-looking army. Like, that's what's the real truth.
Fair.
James is speaking the real truth.
Yeah, we got a couple comments that I want to address. One, they're mentioning Taldark wants to see some competitive Connect 4, and Daniel.
I'm down.
You're a Connect 4 player, James?
Dude, I am dominant at all the childish games.
Yeah, I'm sure we could do a old.
I'm always beating a 4-year-old, so it's not like. I am dominant at all the childish.
We could do it like Age of Sigmar Champions and stream it off an app, and I could just fucking screenshot it.
We can get a 44-man
Connect 4 tournament.
I think that would put Battlegrounds on the map.
Dude, we can 3D print all the boards, so we don't have to worry about buying it.
That's the next level
Taldark's building up to something. Chicken Bow says I should dip my toes into painting. It's meditation. The closest thing that I'm getting to now, and the thing I'm actually excited about to paint, is that one. I just don't. I want my models to be cooler than the art that I would apply to them. So my models will continue to be painted by others, particularly the illustrious James Schaff, if I can at all help it. But with all this 3D printing we're doing, and catch more about our 3D printing for Table Top Alchemy on Mondays at 9 o'clock. But with 3D printing, that has got me into hobbying more than anything else. I'm actually creating models now and projects. And I want to paint terrain, at least. What's the Ziphinel technique, James? What's it called? Where you do the Zenthiel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I at least need to get that concept going on. Right, and it's where it begins. But yeah, I actually have bought like some wood putty and some glue and shit. Just to like glue and putty something is going to be more hobby than I fucking want to dip my hands in. But yeah, there's let's see. Taldark had a building question here. Let's see if I can catch it.
Somebody had a hypothetical question.
Why am I required? And he says he doesn't agree with what he's about to ask, but he can't give it any logical argument. Why am I required to spend my personal time to paint my army to make your experience better? It's my army. Why do I have to make it your standard?
I mean, devil's advocate
in real life.
Yeah,
and I appreciate devil's advocate shit.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I don't disagree with you, Taldark.
If we were in prison, I'd shank that person.
My issue is that, like, if these GTs didn't have it established that you're supposed to reach for this hobby standard, then I wouldn't care. And that's a sincere truth, because I'll play, I mean, yesterday...
I would talk you into painting your armies. Shut up, Chris. I would talk you so quick into painting your army. You know why? Because I'm cool. I bring all the fun adult accessories, and I have fun at the game, and everyone enjoys it. So you know what? I'd be like, hey, it's called a social contract. If you want to play a good game where I can help teach you how to do things good, it's called immersion. and you want to take the game to the next level. So do you want to be like this schmo with gray plastic, or you want someone to ooh and ah over your models? You want to be a bitch, or do you want to be a bitch? Give them a simple question like that, and they're going to be like, dude, I don't want to be a bitch. Exactly. Put the paint on the models.
Yeah, I mean, that's the plain and simple for sure. But I would just, with that particular person, is like, you don't have to make my experience better. In fact, you don't have to play me at all. Go fuck off. Because I mean, like, what a waste of time, basically. If it doesn't, I mean, is that not what got us into the game? You know, there's like, I don't know, if you're not enjoying the game for the rule of cool side of it, then you know, there's other games that are definitely more balanced and competitive.
Like
you know,
chess,
yeah,
or Monopoly.
Yeah, I'll go play chess where things are black and white.
Like hide and go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like there's plenty of games you can go play.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just they don't have to do shit to make my experience better. It's just like I also don't have to lessen my experience by wasting my time with your bullshit army. a lot of anger and cussing this episode. I don't know where it's coming from, but maybe it's the full throttles.
Dude, it's because you immediately opened it up by saying, I'm not using the censor that YouTube gave us. And then you try to censor it, and I was like, fuck that shit. And then goose. And I'm happy about it. This is how I prefer things.
This is the most explicit episode we've had in a long while. Dicks out.
Dude, all about having dicks out.
Wow.
But not just a bunch of dudes with dicks out. I mean, there's got to be at least one girl taking it.
Yeah. Me and Chris got our dicks out right now. That's why it's like cut off right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's weird. Yeah, maybe it's because Chris is right beside me for once, and we're there's just like this added energy. It's escalating my emotions.
Wow.
It's good. It's good.
Wow.
Yeah, too bad. Imagine if you were here, we were all three here in the same room, James. We would pretty much be like, it'd be a sausage fest.
Maybe. Or maybe it'd be called envy.
What'd you say? It'd be called what?
Envy.
Envy, okay.
Yeah.
Not from us.
Speak.
I can see what we're working with, bro, and you ain't nothing special for sure, because we are massive.
I mean, you were taking down walls.
That's right. 9 pounds.
Speaking of money shots.
Yes.
I don't know who else has played a game recently, but I did slap the shit out of Connor with some cult last night.
Yeah, go down with this.
No one likes Connor.
He plays elves.
Yep. That was fun. I'm still very much learning the codex, as is Connor, because there's definitely a few tricks he wasn't prepared for. And yeah, it's been an exciting book so far. I'm still super early in dissecting it.
Yeah, I've been like, Christ in heaven, our 40k chat has been a freak show of ongoing chat messages about the Gene Stewart cult. I'm honestly at this point like, shut up! I don't care about the cult anymore.
Make it stop.
Yeah, make it stop. And I literally made an announcement. The last, like, I've been commenting, like, it'd be like pages of comments, 50 to 100 notifications of comments, and I'll just type, fuck the cult. Or basically my latest was that my entire...
What can't they do?
My only meta is now to beat Chris. The only list I'm going to build for 40k is with killing the cult in mind. I care nothing about any other matchup, but just destroying Chris and his cult. So that hopefully I can lessen his enthusiasm.
It's flattering.
Yeah, you deserve it. Yeah.
So Robles asked about holding an objective. Hold means to not contest.
There we go.
So you do not want to contest that objective if you want to hold it. It's that simple, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you don't hold an objective unless you actually own it.
Yeah, so Chris, back to your cult, man. Yeah, I've heard some people on the interwebs saying how much they suck, and then I've heard very competitive players say how good they are, but they have yet to test it. So, as someone that has whooped up on the elves, but not pure cult, what's your first thoughts?
I think it plays kind of similarly to Eldar in the sense that it's kind of an unforgiving army. You are a very glass cannon army. You have a lot of tricks, but if you misstep, it could be extremely unforgiving.
So basically it's advanced. So that's why the competitive players are saying how good it is and the non-competitive players saying how bad it is.
Additionally, what we've seen in the first week or two after the Codex, a lot of channels are putting up bat reps where they're showcasing the plethora of new units, the bikes, the tanks. You know, it's cool new stuff, but not everything new is competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have a stratagem that's 1 CP that is just ridiculous because it does 3 different buffs, and that's going to get FAQ'd right after Adepticon. Like, I'm quoting it now.
Which stratagem?
I forgot the name of it. The one that gives you +1 to hit, +1 to wound, and then allows you to move.
Is that a once per game? I think I might have heard that.
+1 to hit, +1 to wound, and move.
Yeah, for 1 CP.
There's one that's kind of like that. That's a D3 roll for Genestealers.
I'm thinking of a relic. I guess you guys have 2 relics. One that does like +2 strength, +2 attack.
There is a relic.
And there's another relic that's +1.
+1 wound, strength, and attack. That is a singular relic. That's a gross relic.
Yeah, exactly. Taudark asked, what's the latest kind of new model that is still tearing up the meta, except the new knights, so not Castellans? I would say that the newest hotness is the Assassins just hit, but the Kellermorph is talking a lot of madness. The Patriarch is not a new model, but still kicking some ass.
I still see, this has been my latest talk for the last 2 or 3 days, but I think the Locust model for Genestealer Cult is something people aren't talking about. I think it might be the best character. Maybe.
Yeah, respect.
First point.
Outside of Genestealer Cult, though, I can't say of any other particular one that is a new model that's tearing up the scene.
I mean, you know, post-chapter approved, the reduction in Storm Shields definitely has some Death Watch players doing some new tricks.
I mean, yeah, I guess if anything, and I wouldn't say it's tearing up the meta, but I mean, the latest tricks to the trade that affect the most players is the new Bolter rule, you know, which is pretty cool. Plague Burst Crawlers, that's kind of old hat at this point in my mind's eye.
Yeah, I don't think anything changed with those. I could be wrong.
I mean, they're still relevant and you know, out there in the world, but can't say that they're tearing up the scene. Back when you could run 9 of them, it was a pretty big deal.
So, Chris, the stratagem is called Drive-By Demolitions.
Oh, the demolition stratagem.
Yeah. So it adds 1 to the hit, then to the wound of the grenade, and then allows them to move. And that's pretty ridiculous for 1 CP.
Yeah, that's definitely a really good one.
Especially when you're talking about demolition charges, and then you have the unit throwing 5 of them.
Certainly. So, I mean, you know, I see Robbles mentioning the shoot twice thing. I mean, right off the bat, that's going to cost you, both those stratagems, a total of 5 CP. So, I mean, it's not like it's free, but simultaneously, it is really good. I mean, Cult's a very CP hungry army. I mean, often I'm spending like 4 before the game even starts.
I was pretty, I was just looking at Warslayer. One, I don't recognize seeing Warslayer in the chat too often. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Good to have you. I was curious about I've always dug, I'm not a big Imperium guy, but I do like Assassins, and I think it's pretty cool. They're getting sounds like a pretty sweet update. I haven't actually read it, but I just saw you guys drooling on the rule set a little bit. Anybody got anything to say about the new Assassins rules that are coming up?
Dude, what I think is really cool about them is the fact that they can be thrown into any army. As far as Imperium, as like reserve points in a 1 CP. Now, I haven't read it in detail to know if you do it that way, do you get access to the stratagems, or do you have to put them in your list to get access to the stratagems? Because I'm not 100% sure on that. Because let's say you're a demon or a chaos player and you summon in demon from Chaos Space Marines,
Right.
you don't get access to those stratagems, even though you brought in those units.
Right.
So I'm really curious how exactly the fine wording on that. Until I have it in hand, I won't know. But the fact that for 1 CP you can just bring in an assassin of your choice, like you just save up the points for enough for each assassin, and you can tailor it to each army, and that's pretty powerful, considering it's a character that you auto get for 1 CP. Like if I could auto get like Scarbrand without my character dying, like I would do that every time.
Sure. Yeah, I think the reinforcement element is awesome. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, I think with Adepticon coming around the corner and the FAQ that comes after Adepticon, you're going to see the Castellan get nerfed with this new assassin stuff and new bolter rules. You're definitely going to see some pretty interesting chaos or normal Space Marine builds. I want to say Chaos Space Marine, but I'm hoping for the Vigilus 2 book to make that happen.
Sure, sure. Any updates on when we're expecting that? Because the assassin rules come in White Dwarf, right?
What is that? 13 days from now, something like that.
Oh, really? Is the pre-release or the actual release?
Well, they had that timer, right? Like when they first launched Vigilus, then gave you a timer for like when Abaddon was going to release, and it was like 80 days or whatever.
Okay.
That's like 2 Saturdays from now, I believe.
Very cool. Oh,
so
we got some.
Maybe it's the second weekend of March.
Very exciting.
2 weeks before Adepticon.
Yeah, very exciting. Do you think those will be relevant at Adepticon, or are they going to be? Is the cut off?
I'm very curious. I have no idea. I read through the rules policy, but I did not see like their cutoff line. I'm not the best of readers, especially with the finer details.
You know, I feel since GW's became more involved with the tournament scene, like LVO, Nova, and Adepticon, I've noticed that these tournaments have been a lot more a lot shorter. Like they're being more open to letting new rules into the game, into the tournament.
LVO, they weren't like that because obviously Gene Stealer Cult wasn't available for that. But I'm very curious because I'm playing majority Black Legion, and I have Abaddon. So if you have me in Abaddon, I definitely want to make sure that.
I don't mean that in the I lost connection sense. I mean that in the battery sense. So
they
will not be able to reconnect me. Out of juice.
Damn it, Chris. You threw my mindset off. I don't like points to change.
No battery.
Oh.
Yeah, well.
Sorry, Chris's phone died, so he can't hear you anymore.
Who cares?
Yeah.
It is dead.
Sorry, James, I got distracted too, but you're saying that the...
I'm hoping the points don't change and things like that don't change because my list is majority Black Legion. So I'm taking Abaddon. And if new Abaddon comes out, new rules come out, I don't want to get screwed and have to tweak my list at the very end because I'm just now finalizing it so that I can work on a kill team, all the terrain stuff, so that we have that for Adepticon and I don't have to worry about getting my army ready. So I'm really crossing my fingers they don't screw me. I mean, it'd be nice. It could go in my favor where I get an extra 100 points, I get cool new rules, I get new stratagems, things could definitely go in my favor. But I'm more used to getting screwed over with Chaos Space.
Interesting commentary.
Yeah. I was real. I just got, that was another thing that happened this week. Is I was excited to read the Adepticon missions that came out for Kill Team, which were very much just right out of the Nova Open, right out of Arena. Nothing crazy. Speaking of which, James, any tinkering you've been able to do with the Arena 3D printing wall set? I'm really excited about that project.
Yeah, the measurements you gave me, I have to spend the time to convert all that to millimeters.
Yeah.
And I just don't have the time to do all that.
Yeah.
So I haven't really got around to it because if I had the measurements in millimeters, I can just start designing.
I mean, maybe something I could help with. And do you think that is it not just trace the picture and then scale it to 22 by 30? Does that not?
That's what I was going to do in what the fuck's it called? Fusion's 360. But the picture has distortion based off perspective. So your measurements, you have to get a guideline of this is this long, this is that long, this is this long, and then you can slowly distort the image to go back to how perspective would be naturally.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Well, if there's anything I can do to help that project, whether it's converting inches to millimeters or...
Yeah, we just need to be on the metric system in the United States. That's what would help.
Yeah, or take a better picture or something, because I think that's going to be very valuable to both the community, and I really would like to have them for our arena tournament. We got some comments that I'd like to check out here, so let's see what we got here. So, if you were getting a new player into the game, now that all the codexes have been released, now that Genestealer Cult is out, what is the most competitive new player army? Easiest to learn and use? Grey Knights.
Shut up, Chris. He's just a liar.
Makes someone auto-quit.
Honestly, Knights with Guard, that would be the easiest, because you can get a big Castellan, or some mini Knights, the Armigers, and then you can get some tanks, and then a handful of Guard dudes. It wouldn't be crazy expensive. It would be easy enough to paint, and like you still have like a full enough army.
Dude, Robles is saying you can take a fucking assassin in Chaos armies.
That's actually, they were going along that same train of thought based off the read as written argument for Genestealer Cult, because technically it says something to the effect of like if you take stuff from an Imperial detachment.
Dude, that's dope.
It ends up not working out though for Genestealer Cult.
If I can have Chaos Assassins, that'll be so cool. That'll be so cool.
You're hilarious.
They are very good.
Just for the sake of cool.
Reign of Confusion.
Yeah.
Reign of Confusion is easily one of the best rules.
That's like, I don't know what it is.
Think of it kind of like kill teams, where it's, I think, the Calexis, where just it being alive on the table makes your opponent's stratagems cost 1 more. Okay. And if they can't afford to pay the 1 more, they still spend their command point on stratagem, and it doesn't go off. It's so good.
That's great. You know, James, I hate your answer for new players to give them a Guard and Knights, because I just hate Knights and Guard.
Dude, I mean, that's honestly the easiest to be competitive.
Your answer is correct. I just hate the answer. And it's not because I hate that you said it. I just hate that it's a reality.
Honestly, like, if it was a matter of, like, play style but not competitive, I would
Tyranids, I think, are a good choice. I'll be honest.
For competitive play, there's just so many options that can really, like, mess with a new player's head. Where, like, with the Knight Felon, there's only one way to build it.
Yeah, I like the idea that the Knights, the Knight list is easy to, like, here's what you need. Well, if you give them the Tyranid book, it's like you have a lot of ways, which is part of the, I mean...
You're pulled multiple directions.
Yeah, but I like that. I mean, like, as a new, honestly, my suggestion is Chaos or Tyranids or, I mean, they technically all the factions, not all the factions, but Imperium, Chaos,
Any of the soup factions.
Tyranids, Cult, yeah, the soup. I think that's good for the collection side of things. And as far as the versatility of getting to try multiple play styles in a single faction.
Certainly.
Otherwise, you end up getting multiple factions. And some of them be kind of monochromatic in how they operate.
And I mean, even, you know, like previous editions, I had chased certain play styles. I mean, you know, like in 7th edition, I bought Space Wolves because my bugs weren't delivering the close combat killiness that I wanted. But, you know, when you open yourself up to allied armies, you're not going to get pigeonholed in a given bad codex or bad edition if you can supplement the models you like and the stuff you like to run with a little bit of flavor of the week. You know what I mean?
Totally.
As opposed to where armies like Necrons and Orcs, they're only going to be as good as they are.
Yeah.
Which is a sad reality for the non-soup armies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, luckily we're getting some specialist attachments now, which these campaign books are giving hope to lots of different factions getting options to play with, you know. Like, for instance, the Dread Mob for the Orcs got released in the last book there, which was pretty cool. I actually have, that's my next list I plan to play on stream, is a Orc Dread Mob. Not competitive, but fun. It's going to look cool. We had a question from Daniel here. Had a question for you guys. What do you guys feel about Alpha Strike meta in 40k? The whole roll a d6 before the game starts. If I go first, I win.
I think that's not as prevalent as it used to be.
You hear a lot of times, though, that the top, you know, what's shitty is when it's the excuse.
This is my thing, is that I think what Daniel's describing is definitely prevalent with certain builds of armies.
Yes.
And a few of those builds are popular contenders in the meta.
Especially when you're talking like Knights on Knights.
Exactly. You know, like you're going to have these matches where whoever gets to shoot their guns first is going to be at such a huge advantage. But you know what? At the same time, like, as good as knights are, that's part of the downside of taking knights, is that, you know, like, you kind of are a one-trick pony.
And I gotta, I mean, like, at least GW put a little bit of addressing to it with the prepared positions.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get +1 to your
cover save.
That was part of the reason, you know, like, with my Tyranids bug list, I love that stratagem because, like, against knights, when there's 10 monstrous creatures on the board, sure, go ahead and shoot them all.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not gonna kill them all.
Yeah.
And that's kind of part of it, is that, you know, like, if you build your army to have 4 models and losing 2 of them is a big deal, don't cry about it when, you know, like, your opponent rolls a dice roll. Like, if you're planning to win a game that's strategy based off, like, a 50-50 odds on a dice roll,
right?
Like, are you mitigating randomness to call yourself good, or are you actually good?
Because I think it's a good point, Chris. That it's not that, it's like, while that is a mechanic of the game that does exist, the beauty that is there, the half full side of the glass, is that you don't have to play that way.
Exactly.
And it's more of a decision of the way you built your list.
Yeah, run more guard if you don't like the idea of auto losing when 2 of your knights blow up.
Yeah.
Like, that is your solution.
Yeah, like, if you're going to bring Magnus Morty and you need turn 1 to win, then that's what your choice was.
Like, with my Tyranid list, like, when I saw a list that had Morty or Magnus in them, I was happy, because I was like, oh, that's going to die.
Yeah.
I was like, sorry.
Yeah. Honestly, like, what breaks my heart more than a list that wins or loses if you don't go first or not is the fact that whenever I'm crunching a list and I continue to make evolutions to it based on what's the most competitive, optimized choice, I often find my coolest toys are the ones I have to take out.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to run a Magnus because it's fucking cool, he's like the centerpiece. The centerpiece model, like, I want to take my Gargantuan Squiggoth. Nope, sorry, man, he's just not worth the points. It always comes down to the big baddies are usually not earning their value compared to a bunch of spam of smaller units, you know, or things that don't look as cool on the table.
Yep. Certainly.
Like my list, because I have like 159 models on my list.
Where, like, you know, taking some soul grinders would be fantastic.
Bring back soul grinders.
Soul grinders.
So, you know, like, for example, like, Carnifexes are not that impressive, but they're 88 points, bare bones.
Right.
If I run 6 of them, I have solved the problem of them being underwhelming for their points cost.
Right.
Like, you know, the Armigers, the little knights, they're good because they're cheap and they're effective. Like, it's just a list building question, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like with Eldar, like, I quit playing Eldar because the things that I like to take were no longer competitive, and that fact kept me from enjoying playing them.
I mean, you liked all the Wraithbone.
I loved all the Wraith stuff. Yeah,
and they're cool models, certainly.
Wraith Lords, Wraith Guard, Wraith Knights.
But at the end of the day, you know, you've got to do what you enjoy. I mean, it is a game. Like, you're playing to have fun. Yeah,
and that was coming to those terms when I was in a hardcore competitive mindset, and realizing that fun was the most important element to me enjoying the game. I actually started to have a much better experience with my side of the hobby. Let's see what we got here. So, yeah, to use Assassin Strat to add to army for 1 CP before the game starts, the only requirement is your Warlord has to have the Imperium keyword.
Which Cypher has both.
And Cypher and Chaos Army. That's really neat. That's really neat. Can Cypher just join an Imperium force anyways?
Yeah. I don't know how it affects it. It might be that it could be one of those things where, like, you lose your detachment benefits.
Tell us some quick lore on who is Cypher in the backdrop.
Cypher is a very mysterious figure in Dark Angels fluff.
Okay.
People don't the Dark Angels and the Imperium don't really know kind of whose side he's on. He is a keeper of secrets. Also, his identity is a mystery. Cypher is a title, not a name.
Oh.
And there's only one in the Dark Angels. As far as we know, and I could be not up to date on this, we don't know who the current Cypher is. There is kind of thoughts as to who there's speculation as to who he is amongst the Dark Angels fluff.
Why? Yeah, still tell me more.
So the Dark Angels, people. It's that's one of the ongoing things with their fluff is they don't really know if they're loyalists or traitors, kind of like Alpha Legion, because like people have made the argument like, oh, well, they could have made it on time for this battle, but they, you know, they dilly-dallied to see who the winner of the battle would be, so they could side with either the Imperium or Chaos.
Right, and like they have the dark secret. They're trying to go
the Fallen. They've been trying to hunt the Marines that have gone to Chaos, but they don't want the Imperium to know that they're hunting them. They're trying to keep that a secret, which isn't inherently, you know, problematic because they're not supposed to be doing that. They've done stuff like, you know, like they've basically crucified the Space Wolves for having secrets of their own, and it's put both chapters at odds. And it's like, yo, like, why are you putting us on a cross?
So how do you get the Cypher title?
Cypher, there can only be one ever, period. It's kind of like a unique character.
James said suck a lot of dick.
I mean, I'm not the biggest Dark Angels fan, so I'm okay with that explanation. But, you know, admittedly, I'm not as well versed on. There was a time where I was more knowledgeable about Cypher, but I've forgotten some of the fluff on him because I don't really like the Dark Angels super much. But he's constantly doing weird background stuff. Like the Dark Angels are always trying to catch him because, like, I guess he breaks some of the rules. That like they don't want him doing certain things, and he's always involved in all of these major events in the fluff. Like he was around when Gulliman got his armor and got resurrected to life. Like he's constantly showing up in these places where like are like major fluff events.
Yeah, but in all these places that he is showing up, this is the same individual.
Yes. Well, as far as we know. Also, there's some kind of piece of fluff regards to his sword. Like when he has Luther's sword, I think is what it is, and like supposedly like when he unsheaths that sword is when the Lion, the Primarch, is coming back, something like that.
Wow, there's a lot tied into this old Cypher character. The fact that he can join Chaos is awesome.
Yeah, I mean that just further plays into the fact that we don't know if the Dark Angels are loyalists or not. I mean, they overwhelmingly seem like they are loyalists, but maybe they're just really good actors.
I almost want a whole Chaos Space Marine army that's led by Cypher and based around.
There's a beautiful Fallen army out there with a Fallen Knight and like beautiful Marines.
Oh, he's talking. I'm relaying your message to Chris because he can't hear you. But James is saying that there's a beautiful Fallen army out there, and I guess that's what they would be, the Fallen.
The Fallen.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of part of the thing with the fluff. We don't know if the Fallen are the traitors or the loyalists. You know, some people say like the Fallen are the ones that went over to Chaos. But there's also the theory that the Fallen are actually the true loyalists, and they did not win out in their internal chapter civil war. So they fled to the warp, and instead, you know, like have been replaced by these Chaos Marines that are operating in the Imperium under the guise that they're loyalists. Very Alpha Legion-ish. But, you know, I don't know. Dark Angels players seem to not like to be called heretics.
Yeah. Taldark said he's getting his cane because Taldark, check out my old Dark Angels army, bro. Here it is.
Here you go, George.
Oh, you're sending it over? Cool. James is sending me the Fallen army, but there was my force. You can see a huge Raven Wing army in the middle there. I used to have like 36 bikes. There was the double Demi Company back in 7th. Had my Deathwing Terminators, had my Knights.
I remember that army.
I sold all that shit because fuck the Imperium.
I mean, I'm a Tyranid player, man. I'm filthy Xeno. So
I still play Space Wolves though, but they're mutated, so that's cool. I like the freaks. Oh, cool. Yeah, let's show this pretty picture off that James just shared with us here.
I love the conversion on the Helldrake.
Everything looks converted, man. That Knight, everything.
Here it is. See if we can show our friends at home. Bear with me, audience. I'm producing. Blam. Okay, so what is that big guy with the sword there? Would that be?
That's a Contemptor
in the
of
middle?
some sort.
Yeah. Oh, Cypher's in the middle. Oh, I see him. Yeah.
Up front.
He's got the two pistols.
Oh yeah, I see him. He's all cloaked and shit.
He's like the Dark Angels Calormorph.
Dude, that's fucking cool. The plane with the flames is definitely dope to touch.
Yeah, the Helldrake proxy.
That
thing is very cool.
And then look, the Soul Grinder with the mask, yeah.
The Night Mask, yeah.
What's this model? The guy with the sword.
It looks like a Contemptor of some sort.
I've never seen one in that combat pose.
Yeah, I guess they just modded him just so he's running.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's so much conversions going on. So many, like, you look at the Razorback in the back with, like, the quad cannon. Then you got the Cultists up front. And then you have all these fallen units. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So, okay, so now we're going to hammer through it. We're getting to an hour 10, but our friends here keep giving us some great questions. So let's make sure.
I would love to, like, elaborate on those guys. Dude, Chris just goes off, man.
I know,
but,
right?
As far as Alpha Strike, man, they've done a lot to, like, combat that. But now you can kind of build so that you, like, going second is, like, super important, especially with ITC missions like ground control, holding objectives at the end. When you have missions where, like, the round is, you have to hold more objectives, so, like, you can pop people off objectives, stay on them. So going second's really valuable for a lot of scoring missions. So you kind of have, like, two thoughts of play. Do you play to the missions and objectives? If so, then you kind of want to go second. Or are you trying to play to more of, like, kill and cripple your opponent so that they can never catch up? Then you kind of want to go first. So then it becomes down a rock, paper, scissors with those matchups. So in some games, yeah, you can kind of determine based off who goes first. But a lot of games, if you can have elements to accommodate all, it really doesn't matter who goes first. Like my army, for instance, I have a way to come in and attack something turn one, or I just can keep it back and keep all my goodies and tools off the board until turn two. So a lot of times I have enough chaff with cultists that I can survive 2 turns of shooting in most cases. So then they put themselves in positions where I can dominate, and I still have a lot of board control. So for me, I don't care regardless of who goes first, who goes second. And I think if you kind of keep that kind of thought when building lists, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then Black Tower is asking about Zangor Enlightened. I think they're a great unit, but the problem is that the wounds, they only have 2 wounds. They're not very high toughness. They only got a 5-up invul. So there's a lot of 2-wound guns out there, like butcher cannons, for instance, that make that whole unit, like you can have 9 in a unit, makes them all go bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's one of those gambling units. And if you really like the model and you find ways to hide them because you play in an area that has lots of terrain, then use them. If you're trying to play real competitive on a large-scale scene, they're kind of not worth it. Stick with Zangors and maybe a Shaman.
What do you think about Daniel's follow-up question about the beta rule? Do you think that we should still be able to deploy turn 1 in your own deployment zone if you have stuff in reserves?
Honestly, I rather it's all or none. So it makes it simpler. So instead of like, because orcs have a way to push into your line, so it'd be nice to bring in something in your own deployment zone so you can fight back if you get that hard push on an Alpha Strike. But the problem is, in other editions, you didn't get to bring anything in until 2nd edition, or until 2nd turn. So because of that, most people are used to it. GW's used to it, and I don't think it's going to go back to being able to just bring into your one. It'd be nice, but it's really confusing for newer players. It's better to just make it cut and dry. Either
I was going to say, James, what's kind of interesting is that while Genestealer Cult didn't gain the ability to have turn 1 deep strike, because of the blip system, it's almost like they retained the turn 1 drop in your own deployment zone. Because, prior in the big FAQ, they were the only army that could still deep strike turn 1 before big FAQ 2. Now it's almost like they've been given that allowance in a real roundabout way, because instead of doing the traditional reserves, they can do the blip markers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they could still come in later turns if they wanted to. So.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, all that really matters to me is that I beat Chris in everything we do, so hopefully you see some of that coming very soon. Have to get some games on.
Indeed.
I'm definitely looking forward to Adepticon. I look forward to seeing you, James. It's going to be good. Chris and I and Ali are coming your way, brosif.
Hopefully jerseys come in.
Yeah, jerseys. Got some sick jerseys. Those are on order and everything looks, the jersey folks were very confident that we're going to be able to get our stuff in time. So,
ooh.
Yep, so feel good about that. We're going to get some previews of those real soon, so looking forward to that. Yeah, I'm really excited to see the projects that you're going to finalize too, James. I'm really stoked to see these Worlds Overrun 6x4 table, and for Chris to get his long-awaited Tyranid board. That's going to be a lot of projects are going to come to a conclusion for you with the Space Wolves Kill Team board that we've set up, the Worlds Overrun full table that we're going to have at Battlegrounds and on our channel, the full-blown Tyranid set that Chris has commissioned for you. The Black Templars that Tau Dark and our fans helped us get on our talk show here. I can't wait to see those Black Templars.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be pretty dope.
I need to listen to that like soon. Very soon.
I tried to send you that freaking Reddit that had some.
I don't know what that means.
I sent him this great tactical breakdown on how the Adeptus Astartes works in kill teams, and he's just like, I don't understand.
My brain.
You need to read. We need to get you playing goddamn kill team, bro.
Yeah, no, never played a game, so it's like I don't know.
I think it's gonna be really odd when James plays kill team and then falls in love with the game.
Yeah.
Strictly play chaos, so I don't even know what the fucking any of it is.
Dude, it would be hilarious for you to never have played and then you win. Obviously, I'm gonna train your ass off the moment I get there and be like, all right, hugs, bro, cool, fuck dinner, let's get to playing, kill team time.
And what's gonna be hilarious is I'm gonna be playing 2 games at once because I'm gonna be playing Chris or Ali on the bigger table, and then we're gonna have the kill team board off to the side. And I'm just gonna play my turns back and forth.
I just gotta get you to the point where the only thing not that you would be this way, but there's certain rules in Kill Team that when you first experience them, transferring from 40k to Kill Team, you're like, your first instinct is to be like, that's dumb.
The charge phase stuff, the way you charge, had confounded me for so long because there's not a charge phase. It's in the movement phase. You're just wait.
I've watched a lot of Bat Raps. I mean, I've watched the majority of all of our content, so it's just I'm sure something's gonna click when I start playing.
Right.
But man, I don't get it.
Yeah.
What the hell is a fucking?
You'll get it, man.
We're gonna get you there, James. You're gonna win with a Black Templar and make history.
Dude, I will laugh really hard. Really hard.
But it is time to close this puppy up, man. We've lost some viewers. They said peace. It's been a long episode. It's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate everybody that's made it this far and listened to us rant and rave and cuss. And keep taking fun seriously, everybody.
Yeah, have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. Any of you guys that feel like talking some Gene Stealer cult, find me on Facebook.
James, you good, man? Everything cool?
Yeah, man. Peace out. Keep taking fun seriously.
Yep.
Adios.
Catch you later.